in position for kickoff. Happy New Year from the Mile High City. Oakland playing to win the AFC West and get the first round bye and the 2 seed in the upcoming playoffs. Hello, friends. Jim Nance, Phil Simms, and Tracy Wolfson. Before we kick it, though, the big news today, Gary Kubiak. This is going to be his last game as the head coach of the Broncos. He's going to, from all appearances, tomorrow he's going to announce that he's going to retire from coaching football.
Yeah, caught everybody by surprise. I'll tell you, just think about the coaches and the players of the Denver Broncos. They heard that news this morning in the locker room. What are they thinking of? Hard to get your head wrapped around the game when you know your head coach might retire.
This game is being broadcast in Spanish. We're available using the SAP button on your television. The other big story, the Raiders trying to win to take the division for the first time since '02, and they will be quarterbacked by Matt McGloin with Derek Carr out with the broken fibula. And the Raiders won the toss and elected to defer. So Janikowski with the short run up and the short kick to the 4 to Khalif Raymond, the rookie out of Holy Cross. And James is there to deck him at about the 17. So all kinds of things happening here today. The Kubiak story, the Raiders with so much on the line. McGloin, what will he look like? Plus you got the story of the 2 quarterbacks for the Broncos. We're going to start with Trevor Siemian, his 14th start of the season. And his line really anchored by Paradis, who's going to have offseason double hip surgery. Could be a X factor today. Hireman, the tight end. Derby is inactive. They do have Green up. Let's play action for Siemian. Sidearms it and completes it. We just mentioned Hireman could be an X factor. Look at him bulldozing right through the Raiders for a big gain. The second-year player out of Ohio State, taken in the 3rd round of the draft a couple of years ago.
Well, they love to throw screens, the Denver Broncos. Not much success last week against Kansas City. And what do you do against the team? Khalil Mack, Bruce Irvin, guys that can get up the field. You're worried about blocking them. Try to slow them down with the screen play. Excellent first call by Gary Kubiak.
Gary Kubiak electing to start Siemian to try to get the effects of the game against Kansas City out of his system. It was his worst performance of the season. And that pass intended for Emmanuel Sanders draws a flag. Sean Smith was defending, but the flag actually is at the line of scrimmage on the near side.
Illegal use of the hands. Hands to the face. Number 75. Defense. 5-yard penalty. Automatic. First down.
Brad Allen is our referee here in week 17.
Well, Darius Latham with the penalty when you play the Oakland Raiders defense. Jim, you know, everybody knows at home, you got to account for 2 guys, especially not just Khalil Mack, Bruce Irvin on the other side. They are very good against the run, both of those guys, but they're both excellent pass rushers. They work together very well.
Forsett is the running back, and there's the throw over to Virgil Green. Sidesteps Emerson. Picks up about 7. Malcolm Smith there to end it. Here's the Raider defense. It's been looking better in recent weeks. Mack had a 5-sack performance here last year in a Raider victory. Irvin, been a big offseason acquisition with 7 sacks on the year. Reggie Nelson heading to the Pro Bowl for the 2nd time. They lead the league in turnover margin. The Raiders do it plus 18. Here's a 2nd and 4 coming up. Forsett with the handle. Snapped up, tries to bounce out, but the Raiders are there. Whole slew of them, including T.J. Carey, holds them to 1.
Story of the year right there. Talk about this Denver team and why they're not going back to the playoffs or they couldn't repeat as Super Bowl champions. That play illustrated they just could not run the football consistently, couldn't run it with power. When you do that, you can't throw play action passes. You put your tremendous defense on the field more, put all that together. That's why we have a team at 8-7 right now.
Well, the Raiders defense has allowed only 1 opening drive touchdown this season after giving up 6 a year ago. And the Broncos have been dismal in the first quarter all season long. But they keep this drive going. That pass with some heat on it to Latimer for a gain of 5 and a first. And we've got a final in from Pittsburgh after Cleveland kicks a field goal on the first possession of overtime. It took 7.5 minutes for a field goal. Pittsburgh comes back and wins it with a touchdown. And that means the Browns will indeed, by losing, win the first pick in the NFL draft. They almost won and potentially would have given that away if the 49ers would have lost. There is Latimer with a second catch.
That was a run play, but Trevor Siemian saw the coverage was off of Latimer, so he threw it outside real quick, and good start for Trevor Siemian.
Good start for Cody Latimer, who's been seeing action here the last 4 plays with 2 catches, and Sanders has not been in since he was thrown to on the second play of the game.
That's what you want to do. You talked about Trevor Siemian, get that bad taste out of your mouth from Kansas City, and they're doing the right thing. A lot of quick throws, throwing in rhythm, and on target.
Go to Forsett, and again, he's got nowhere to go. Autry is there right away.
Man, the worst, statistically, however you want to look at it, when you know they're going to run, the Denver Broncos, their run offense has to be the worst in the league. 3rd and short, that was an obvious run. 2nd and short, let's get the first down. And the running backs, now the Raiders, let's give them a little credit. They got some big men on that defensive line. Not going to be easy to push them around.
The Broncos managed only 33 yards rushing in the game at Oakland. A 30-20 win for Oakland. Siemian all kinds of time. There's Mack on that side, and Siemian extending the play and throwing it away. But a flag you can see in the secondary. It's going to be against the Raiders.
Personal foul. Grasping the face mask. Defense, number 29. 15-yard penalty, automatic. First down.
Hold on, David Emerson.
Well, 29, David Emerson at the line of scrimmage. Really nice move off by Benny Fowler that time. 1 on the first step, and that's why Emerson reached out with that hand. He got caught off guard.
And the 15 yards sets the football at the Oakland 25. So Sanders continues to be sidelined here. Fowler to the right, Demaryius Thomas to the left. Double tight end here.
Kubiak wants to look at these young players, give them a chance right here at the beginning.
There's Siemian. Down the middle. Got his man at the 10. It's Thomas.
Best throw of the game for Siemian right there, right on target. Tight coverage, good throw.
About to welcome the nation. Jim Nance, Bill Sims, Tracy Wolfson like to welcome everybody across the country to Oakland and Denver here in the Mile High City. The Raiders, with a victory, would take the AFC West and get a first-round bye. But the Broncos are driving here on the first series of the game, and it's Booker to the end zone for the touchdown. Denver picking up 6 first downs after taking the opening kickoff. And it ends with Devontae Booker racing in from 11 yards out.
Well, they get the edge. That's what's always important. And who's on the edge? Well, Gary Kubiak, this is what he wanted. A 2-back running attack, and Virgil Green back in the lineup. Their best blocking tight end. He got the block, and Nate Allen, the safety, not there to cover it up.
This is a Denver team that produced only 33 points in the first quarter. The first 15 games, that's an NFL low. Well, they certainly were in the rhythm here. They marched 84 yards in 8 plays. Get the quick 7 on Oakland. Just the 3rd touchdown in 45 possessions for the Broncos, and the first time they have a lead in a game since December the 4th. But the big story now is the full nation audience has joined us here, as that the Broncos are playing this game with Gary Kubiak on the sideline for what appears to be the last time. It's been confirmed by a number of people inside the Broncos organization that he's going to retire tomorrow as the head coach here in just his 2nd season, after leading them to the Super Bowl title, Super Bowl 50, on February 7th. Now, we met with the Broncos on Friday, and we didn't even get a whisper something like this might happen. What a way to ring in the new year. How surprised are you?
Shocked. I was really shocked because, you know, when you look at their football team, and we talked about at length with him about these, all the problems, that they were close to being a Super Bowl caliber team, and he was in great spirits. and talking about, what he wanted to do in this game and what he saw for the future for some of his young players. So to say we were shocked is an understatement.
Of course, he's had health issues. Even when he was a head coach down in Houston, he had that TIA, that mini stroke, several years back. Missed a game this year because of a complex migraine. And there's a handoff. McGloin's first play as a give to Murray for 2 yards. We got an update first. Let's go to JB and Boomer in the studio.
Kansas City hoping to do better in the postseason, Boom.
All right, San Diego gets on the board first here, guys. 35-yard field goal by Josh Lambo. Chargers take a 3-0 lead. Kansas City presently driving in Chargers territory, 8:33 and counting in the first quarter.
Back to Jim Nance.
All right, fellas, and again, if Kansas City was to win and Oakland lose, then the Chiefs would be the 2 seed and get the bye week, and Oakland would play at Houston next week in the wild card round. Here's McGloin with the handoff to Washington, and it's a pickup of about 3. Before we profile Matt McGloin, I just want to finish the story on Kubiak because it really did quake a lot of people around the league today to wake up to the news that Gary was going to step aside, and best we can patch it together. This has to do with just the grind. It's just,
that's it.
He is just ready to move on with his life and go in a new direction.
When you can never turn it off, that's a problem. And I think Gary is one of those people. We've met him many times. I've known him for a long time. Very meticulous in his preparation. And when you can't turn that switch off and relax, sooner or later it's going to wear you down. And that's the point where it's come for him, I think.
3rd and 5, and again they run it, and they're going to pick up the first down here with Washington, who had a sensational effort last week in a victory over Indianapolis. That's an 8-yard pickup. Gary Kubiak, all those years down in Houston, and the Super Bowl 50 champion head coach, and of course with his deep history here in Denver. Well, drafted by the Broncos, back up to Elway for all those years. First exposed to the NFL as a ball boy back in the late 70s with Bum Phillips' Houston Oilers teams. 32 years in all in the NFL as a player and a coach. McGloin's got a new set of downs. Richard, the running back. Richard tries to go off right tackle, and he fights for 2. Okay, Matt McGloin getting his first start since 2013 when he made the Raiders roster as an undrafted free agent out of Penn State. Won his first start down in Houston against Gary Kubiak's Texans, threw 3 touchdowns, and has seen just limited action in the 3 years since. Rodney Hudson, boy, do they wax on about his leadership. Murray, who had 3 touchdowns rushing in the win against the Broncos earlier this season. McGloin, 4 plays so far, all runs by the Raiders. McGloin, who's played in just 5 games over the last 3 years, and got a flag down.
Delay game. Offense. 5-yard penalty.
Before we knew that McGloin's story was going to get usurped here by Kubiak's pending retirement, McGloin, man, he was profiled all week long as Derek Carr was putting together an MVP caliber season, and people are going to say, how are the Raiders going to proceed through the postseason with McGloin?
Well, there's a lot of things were written, of course, being tough, gritty. You said those words already. I think the big important thing here today is the coaching staff has great faith in him. They're not going to scale back the offense at all. Is he as talented as Derek Carr? No.
Pass over to Roberts. So his first throw is a completion for about 4. Make that 6.
But let's talk about Matt McGloin just a little more. Confidence, he does not lack. He's not cocky. He is confident. He throws the ball well. Jack Del Rio's told us, and I've seen it in his preseason games, and when he played that 6-game start, he has the arm strength to make all the throws on the field. But the only thing, the negative is, Jack Del Rio says, I don't want him to get too emotional because he can be that way on the field sometimes.
They do believe he's more poised than what we saw when he got action in those 6 starts as a rookie.
Right.
But he, in the words of Del Rio, has arm talent, which we'll see right here on 3rd and 7. Down the sideline, and boy, that pass had precision, but breaking it up was Talib. Perfect coverage on Crabtree.
Well, it's a blitz. The throw was perfect, but Aqib Talib having maybe his best year of his career. Top of the screen, little jump start by Michael Crabtree. Doesn't fool him. Knows how to time. Looks at the receiver's eyes. Watches their hands. Talib, Chris Harris, best tandem in the NFL.
Raymond, the returner. And Marquette King is about to send it his way. Jordan Norwood, who's had some shaky performances in the return game for the Broncos, inactive. And fair catch signal by Raymond at the 11. Good punt there. 48 yards by King. All right, back here in Denver for the Broncos' second possession. And again, some of the audience joining us in progress here in the first quarter. The Broncos had struggled all season long in the first quarter offensively. And hey, there's some jawing going on here across the sidelines between Talib and Crabtree. We're going to show you why here in a minute. And this might be something to watch the rest of the day. No doubt, actually.
That's the old phrase. The tone has been set between those two.
Yeah, and we have the video evidence behind it. Simeon completing it to Harriman. And he is held to a 2-yard gain. Big hit by Emerson. And here's what happened. Watch this. Talib reaches in.
Grabbed a goat chain.
Yeah.
And ripped it apart.
Crabtree is in disbelief. He's actually showing his teammates what he did.
What he did. So that was planned. He was thinking about that before the game, I'm sure. Got an opportunity here in the first long pass down the field and took advantage of it.
There's a handoff to Forsett for 3. Brought down by Edwards. And let's go back to JB and Boomer in the studio.
As you said, Jim, KC looking to improve its seeding.
That's right, Cairo Santos, a 35-yard field goal. He'll tie the game right here between the Chargers and the Chiefs. 3-3.
Back to Jim Nance.
All right, guys, in a game that by all indications will be the final one played by the Chargers in the city of San Diego. And that's a story that's going to really take root here, or be finalized, I would think, in the next couple of weeks. 3rd and 5. And Simeon had that one a little too high. Got away from him, trying to connect with Thomas. He had completed his first 6 throws before that one.
Yeah, sorry, Jim. He had to throw over a defender, and it was a risky throw. Thomas going to break out. See the underneath coverage. TJ Carey's worried about that, and Sean Smith comes off of his guy. So good start by Simeon. Risky throw that time.
Riley Dixon, impressive rookie out of Syracuse. Kubiak called him one of the standout performers this year. Punting away to the rookie, Jalen Richard for the Raiders. That's only the 4th fair catch of the year by Richard. After 32 of his punt returns, he's taken off. Well, we got a flag out.
During the kick, holding, receiving team number 23. That 10-yard penalty is administered from the end of the kick, 10 yards, first down, timeout.
Called on Dexter McDonald. We'll see the Raiders' second series when we come back to Denver. On this final day of the regular season, New England clinches the 1 with this victory down in Miami. So now Oakland has pole position on the 2, but must win here. Otherwise, if the Raiders and Kansas City both lose, that would still give the Raiders the 2 and its first division title since 2002. But from the Kansas City side, if the Chiefs win, Raiders lose, they move up to the 2.
You know, a couple things. Look at this Oakland offense now. Matt McGloin able to get under center and hand the ball off. Derek Carr had a hard time doing it because of a broken pinky finger.
Yep. It occurred on Thanksgiving Sunday. And there's the quick throw over to Crabtree for a pickup of 5. Wade Phillips' defense has struggled this season against the run. Billy Wynn in for Derek Wolfe, who's inactive with a neck. Shane Ray for DeMarcus Ware, who had back surgery on Friday, IR'd. And TJ Ward inactive. And he is replaced by Justin Simmons, the rookie out of Boston College. Wade Phillips' defense #1 in the league against the pass.
Well, good reason why. Good pass rushers, great cover corners.
Here's a 2nd and 5 throw, and it was tipped at the line of scrimmage.
Darian Stewart jumped up and got it. They are crowding the line of scrimmage big time. Just think about it, Jim. You got Wade Phillips, one of the best defensive coordinators in the NFL, likes to be aggressive. Stewart sitting there watching his guy in the backfield doesn't come out, so he's able to jump. And he's got a quarterback making his first start. Now, you think he's going to show him some new things and not be afraid to make defensive calls today? Matt McGloin's got to be thinking clearly and precisely to figure out this Denver defense.
3rd and 5. They rush 4. And McGloin with a good pass to Roberts at the 50.
That's what I call brave throw. Roberts in the slot going down the field. The corner sees him, and Matt McGloin just showed you that arm strength. And what did he tell us last night? Matt McGloin goes, look, I'm going to be smart. I'm not going to try to win the game like I did when I started years ago in those 6 starts. But I'm not going to be Charlie Checkdown either. And what he meant by that, I'm not just going to dump these little short ones. If there's a chance to make a play down the field, I'm going to do it.
He's completed 3 of his first 5, and he tosses it here to Richard. It was ridden down by Dakota Watson for no gain. Derek Carr was putting together some special season. Look how it ranks in the history of this decorated franchise. The 12 wins, tied for the 2nd most, 3rd most completions, all these things up there. Impressive, particularly touchdown against interception ratio.
Yeah, it's all good. He was the leader, spirit. I mean, he just had it all. The players loved him, playing well. The offense suits him perfect. Bill Musgrave designs plays that he executed very well.
Did not travel with the team. Here's the give to Washington. Derek Carr back home after surgery 5 days ago on that broken fibula, and there have been some, including his brother, who have suggested that if the Raiders were to get all the way to Super Bowl 51, the game's going to be played on February 5th in Houston, that given a 6 to 8 week recovery period, he could potentially play. Do you think that's a possibility?
Yeah, well, that's a good possibility. I think the first order of business is try to find a way to win this game here today.
No question, but could he play, do you think, if there's 6 weeks on the mark? Is that realistic?
It's a long way. It's a long time to sit out. You need practice no matter who you are.
False start. Offense, number 10. 5-yard penalty. 3rd down.
And I'll say this. If they do make it to the Super Bowl, that guy out there right now is going to have something to do with it, Matt McGloin. He's got to play some good football. So it all sounds good, but the reality is if they get there, Derek Carr would be a great insurance policy.
And like you said, taking care of this business today, if they do, they got at least one step down the line. They don't have to play on wild card weekend. They'll have a home game in the divisional round.
And get more practice for this offense under Matt McGloin.
3rd and 14. McGloin from the pocket. And that one sailed on him. Trying to go back to Crabtree to leave in the area. And McGloin and the Raider offense comes off the field.
Yeah, probably just a hair quick with his decision that time. A little too fast. And he throws the ball. Top of your screen, 15's there. Michael Crabtree. Just throws a little too quick, and Crabtree saw a lot of defenders coming towards him also.
So Raymond, who made a fair catch at the 11 on King's first punt, standing in that area again. Good hang time, another signal here on the sideline, and again it's near the 11. 44 yards this time. King, both punts inside the 20.
The NFL on CBS is sponsored by New York Life. With the right guidance, everyone can be good at life. And by Amazon Prime. Get free 2-day shipping on millions of items.
Some footage last week where the Raiders Foundation brought together children and their families to celebrate the holiday season at the Oakland Zoo. Meanwhile, here in Denver, Simeon and the Broncos' 3rd drive of the game. Took it 84 yards the first time they had it for a touchdown. And Booker, he smashed right into Latimer, his own teammate, and is able to plow ahead for about 5. If you thought your fantasy season was over, it's not. Sign up free and learn more at NFL.com/playoff challenge.
Cody Latimer, the wide receiver, hit Nate Allen. Nate Allen never saw him coming.
Nate Allen shaken up. He's been playing exceptionally well for Carl Joseph, who's inactive again because of a toe injury. Watch from behind right here. Perry Riley Jr., his own teammate, accidentally kicked him in the back of the head. Tracy, let's go down to the sideline.
Well, Nate Allen was taken to the locker room. He will go through concussion protocol. As for Emmanuel Sanders, we have not seen him since early in the first drive of the game. He has a left foot injury. He is out for this game, Jim.
Okay, so his season complete as Booker runs over one defender, Keith McGill, who just came in for Nate Allen, and he picks up 10. Booker running hard here, including a touchdown run in the opening quarter.
Well, it's interesting. He actually got Thompson in there at fullback, and every time a couple runs have worked very well with the lead blocker, which this offense is designed to have, a fullback that can be the lead blocker. They lost Janovich, and once they lost him, it really hurt the run game.
That is going to be the last play of the first quarter, and the Broncos put up 7 on the opening drive. 7-0 Denver. You're watching the NFL on CBS.
The NFL on CBS is sponsored by Southwest. Yes to low fares with nothing to hide. That's transparency. Garmin Fitness. Let's beat yesterday. And by the Lincoln Motor Company.
Wishing you a happy and healthy new year. Jim Nance, Phil Simms, Tracy Wolfson with the Raiders and Broncos tangling here on a 40-degree day. Sun has been shining. And now the Broncos, who have done nothing offensively for almost a month, they had some really nice moments there in that first quarter as we start quarter number 2.
Run and pass.
Set. Look at Khalil Mack all over him. Loss of 1. And more on the Kubiak story. Tracy?
Jim, so much chatter pregame down here about this being Gary Kubiak's final game. I spoke with several players and some coaches. They were all completely shocked this morning. I was told that Gary Kubiak spoke with the team last night, as he always does, and it was all positive. It was about the future of the team, not his future. He spoke with them again before they took the field. He did not discuss the report at all. Jim?
It'll be interesting to see when the game ends. We've been hearing he's not going to talk about it until tomorrow. Here's that give to Forsett, and he breaks right through another tackle, being chased by Malcolm Smith, who tried to punch the football out from behind, but Forsett rips off his longest run of the season for any one of the 3 teams he carried the football for. That goes for 64.
Well, this offensive line off to a really good start here today, getting blocks. The right guard, Michael Schofield, gets Perry Riley Jr. out of the way, and then that's what you need, and what they have not gotten. You need running backs to make guys miss or break tackles. Good job by Forsett that time. Big play. And the concern right now, the Raiders got to be going, man, all we're playing for, Denver playing for nothing, and we're getting dominated.
Well, again, he ran through a McGill attempted tackle. McGill was hit at the same time by his teammate Carey, TJ Carey. This time it's Autry on Booker for a loss of 3. So Simeon, we're going to see Paxton Lynch. That they've really assured everyone that they're going to try to play the full roster here today. Everybody dressed. And there is Paxton Lynch, their rookie first-rounder out of Memphis, who started a couple of games when Simeon was hurt. But Simeon, this season, 16 touchdowns, 9 interceptions.
Excellent year. Just that's nothing to say. If he was a second-round pick and came in and played this way, you'd go, wow, what a great job by a high pick.
2nd and 13. That's to Jordan Taylor. Takes it inside the 10. Again, Smith trying to knock the ball out.
But, look at it this way. Gary Kubiak says, look, a lot of things he's got to work on in the offseason. One, he's got to get a little stronger, not bigger, just stronger, so you can withstand the rigors of the NFL, know how to play and not get hit and take care of yourself. And also, Simeon, I said to him, man, it's a long year, isn't it, that first year playing through the NFL, all these games, the preparation, the stress that he went through, Jim, and OTAs, training camp, trying to win the job. I'm telling you what, after halftime, if he's taken out, he's going to be one happy dude.
Thrown for over 3,200 yards. Here's a 3rd and 5. He's got Thomas. But the Raiders keep him short of the first, and we're going to quickly go back to JB and Boomer for an update.
Antonio Gates ties a future Hall of Famer.
111 career receptions right here for touchdowns. That ties Tony Gonzalez here in the studio with us. Puts up the Chargers 10-3 over the Kansas City Chiefs. Congratulations to Antonio Gates.
Back to Jim Nantz.
All right, fellas, and Gates has already said he will be coming back for another season. And now the Broncos will have to go field goal here.
Now look what we got. These two games, the Chiefs, the Raiders, what they're playing for. No easy outs in the NFL here. No easy outs.
Brandon McManus from 22 yards drills it. 29 of 33 on the year. Field goal set up by the 64-yard dash by Forsett. The longest rush of the season for the Broncos. 10-0 Denver. To give you an idea about that Forsett run, how rare it's been. The previous long rush of the season was 28 yards for Denver. And they've had 6 games this year where they did not even produce 64 yards rushing for an entire game. So McManus will deliver the touchback.
Well, they're in a scenario right now that they haven't had for a long time, and that's being ahead, this defense. But let's talk about this Raiders offensive line. They got to take over this football game and give them a chance to win. And what have they done this year? Their quarterbacks 3.3 yards distance from pressure anybody around them. That's a half a yard better than the league average. So the offensive line for the Raiders, that's the big key to their success, in my opinion. They can run the ball. They can protect the quarterback. Next gen stats.
And both of those throws you saw went to Amari Cooper, who has been held without a catch so far in this game. Targeted once. There's Crabtree. And this side is defended by Harris. Wade Phillips' defense, much different story than what we all witnessed on Christmas night at Kansas City when they gave up 21 points in the first quarter and 3 drives that were at least 77 yards each. Wade called it the worst quarter he'd ever seen.
Well, you know how proud he is, this defense. You think they're not sick of hearing about the Oakland Raiders, the size of their offensive line, how they ran the football against their front in the first meeting?
There is Washington. There was a big story this week without knowing that the Kubiak news was going to be uncovered here on game day, that Wade Phillips did not have another year on his contract. And why weren't they going ahead and extending him? Because he was such a big part of their Super Bowl success, and this defense, which is a Super Bowl defense even this year, even though they haven't stopped the run like they used to.
Well,
but now you got to wonder about the entire coaching staff.
Well, you do. If I was hired the next head coach of the Denver Broncos, first guy I'd go to and talk to would be Wade Phillips. Won't you stay on just a little bit longer and help me in my transition?
Yeah, with the news that Kubiak's going to resign after the game. 3rd and 4. Richard is not going to get close.
This time the Denver defense, the first 3rd and 4 or 5, they ran it. But this time they kept the big guys in, and we got a little battle going on the outside.
Guess what? Crabtree and Talib.
Well, you know, Michael Crabtree, I'd say you're playing right into Aqib Talib's, right into his hands. He's got you thinking about him, fighting him, instead of just playing the game. Too much at stake to get in personal battles right now for the Oakland Raiders.
Oh, there was pressure. King able to deliver a soaring boot back to the 5. It's Raymond. It was a 63-yard punt. That was Shaq Barrett who came in, almost got a block on that.
The NFL on CBS is sponsored by Acura. Precision crafted performance. AT&T. And by Progressive, handing off big savings to you.
Back with the Broncos leading at 10-0 and a 2-back set, which you didn't see a lot of this year. As Simeon dumps it off to fullback Juwan Thompson. And Penalty marker is down. Good piece of running by the free agent out of Duke. He was undrafted and came to the Broncos back in 2014.
Holding. Offense number 70. Still first down.
That call on Billy Turner brings it back. And we'll remind you that the road to the Final Four next week, college hoops. Texas A&M South Carolina on Saturday. The Badgers take on Purdue in Big Ten action next Sunday here on CBS.
Well, Billy Turner playing right guard. Gary Kubiak, you talked about it, that they're going to play a lot of guys today, and he feel like he deserves some playing time, practicing well in there for Michael Schofield, who had a couple big blocks and early runs that had success for Denver.
1st and 18. Knocked down by Malcolm Smith. And yes, begging for it, looking around, and they do get the flag.
Pass interference. Defense, number 53. By rule, the ball is placed in response to the foul. Automatic. First down.
As on Malcolm Smith. 6 Oakland penalties already. Let's go back to JB for the update.
Kansas City trying its best.
And here comes Alex Smith. This is going to be a 5-yard TD run. This will be his 5th rushing touchdown of the season. Chiefs tied the score 10-10. They responded nicely to the Antonio Gates touchdown.
Back to Jim Nantz and Phil Simms.
All right, some good action there. And again, the Raiders trying to win the division with a victory here and a 2 seed in the first round by Booker. And looking at Alex Smith run that one in, he's going to be one of only 3 quarterbacks in the AFC playoffs who has ever played in the postseason before. Of course, you got the 2 big ones with all kinds of experience, Brady and Roethlisberger. Then you got Alex Smith, who's made 5 starts in the postseason in his career.
Yeah, he's played well when he's been in the playoffs. I remember the game he played in Indianapolis where he put up tremendous numbers, lost the last one. Come back, and there's the numbers.
Well, 13 of the last 15 AFC quarterbacks in the Super Bowl have been either Brady, Peyton Manning, or Ben Roethlisberger. 2nd and 9, and Simeon is going to pick up 8 right here. The pass played Virgil Green. Hey, here's your AFC postseason quarterbacks. Brady on his way to his 32nd. Roethlisberger his 18th. Smith has some experience, but then after that, Matt Moore, no. Savage, who suffered a concussion today in the game at Tennessee. Matt McGloin.
Well, you got to make that first start sometime. Get that experience. Raiders being put in situations.
3rd and 1.
Oh, they got the stop.
Yeah, that was big for the Raiders to make a play. You see Brandon Trawick, number 41, he was in on that along with Khalil Mack, but Trawick came in at safety this series, replacing Keith McGill, who had replaced Nate Allen.
Yeah, that time Malcolm Smith got in the backfield. He's quick, he's fast inside, disrupt the running game there, and you know what I was saying, the Raiders defense can't put Denver's offense into obvious passing situations where we can see Khalil Mack and Bruce Irvin turn loose.
Dixon, his 2nd punt. Richard. That's up ahead, out to the 34. Vinny Fowler brought him down after the 53-yard boot. Back out comes McGloin. The NFL on CBS is now on CBS All Access. Stream your local games live. Go to cbs.com/NFL Now. Try it free. Raiders have managed only 46 total yards so far inside 7 minutes to go in the first half.
Well, it's time to let Matt McGloin play a little bit. His feet are under him. He's got the nerves out of the way. His heartbeat is slowed down. And look at this defense. Everybody at the line of scrimmage, they're daring him to throw the ball.
They pick up the blitz, and McGloin down the field. Had an open man. If that pass was on target, Cooper with his speed would have taken it the distance.
Watch this. It's one-on-one, top of the screen, nobody else, because look, they're saying go ahead and throw it if you want. And it's a nice move on the outside. Oh, a little post, corner post by Cooper, and it's a touchdown. And Matt McGloin, just, hey, knows it's everybody's crowding the line of scrimmage, hurried to throw a little quicker than he needed to. He could have sat there, took his time, and just thrown a strike right into the chest of Amari Cooper.
Yeah, the pocket may have been fractionally collapsing, but he had time definitely to get more out of it. And here he's throwing on second down, and it's nearly intercepted by Stewart. Trying to go to Crabtree that time, and McGloin now 4 out of 9.
A couple things. That look we saw where he missed Crabtree, it's such a running formation, and they set that up and got what they wanted. Now, if you're the Oakland Raiders offense, you don't want to attack these two corners of the Denver Broncos. Talib and Harris, two of the best in the NFL. You look to throw the ball inside against linebackers and the safeties. That's where you need to try to make your mark in the pass game.
3rd and 10. Oakland so far with only 2 first downs. And again, he's high. Going toward Crabtree, and he got hit.
Oh, we got a personal foul, I think.
Yep, and it's out.
Foul. Roughing the passer. Defense, number 93. Contact on the passer's head. 15-yard penalty. Automatic. First down.
It looks like it's going to be, the football goes high because McGloin's got to lean back. He knows he's getting pressured.
Oh, look at the helmet. Yeah. The head hit the ground.
It was helmet to helmet. Jared Crick.
He's backed up by Connor Cook today, the rookie 4th rounder out of Michigan State. His first time that Cook's been active. And watching McGloin then take that helmet off and then look around a little bit, I wasn't so sure if somebody might not say we ought to check him out.
Yeah.
And there's Cook.
I know this. The coverage has been very tight on these wide receivers so far by the Denver Broncos.
First down at the 49. Murray for only 1, just his 2nd carry of the game. Shaq Barrett with the tackle. Sunday, January 22nd. 18 people will go on the run from a team of expert hunters. CBS presents the real-life thriller Hunted, premiering Sunday, January 22nd after the AFC Championship game, only CBS.
I say last week against Kansas City was the first time I could say when I looked at Denver's defense and go, wow, they actually look tired. Gary Kubiak had nothing but jog-throughs all week long to freshen his team up. His defense is showing it.
2nd and 9, Barrett from the edge almost got there, and the pass was thrown in the direction of Miller. And we're going to have a face mask call here, I believe, against Denver. No, it's on Murray. The first signal was the other direction. And now it's going to be on.
Personal foul. Grasping the face mask. Number 74. Offense. 15-yard penalty. Remains 2nd down.
Alexander. Vidal Alexander.
Well, Alexander. Here he is, top of the screen. Shaq Barrett, boy, they got some pass rushers, the Denver Broncos. Shane Ray, Shaq Barrett, when those are your backups, you're pretty well suited to go after the quarterback in all situations. Alexander, young guy, comes in as an extra offensive lineman. They have great promise in him. They think he's going to be a big-time starter. He's been their 6th offensive lineman here of late and does an excellent job as an extra blocker, tight end, whatever you want to call it.
2nd and 24. Raiders have not crossed midfield in this game. And they're all over this. That's Sylvester Williams all over Richard on the attempted screenplay and a loss of 5.
Jim, for the Matt McGloin, I'm watching him. Yeah, he's just not feeling good. It's his hand. He's limping. Sylvester Williams gets pressure. Oh, that hit.
His hand hit the helmet. And that was Crick,
boy,
who took him to the turf on that play. You saw.
And I've just watched him. And actually, between plays, he walks with just a little bit of a limp, I thought.
3rd and 29. Gets rid of it quickly to Cooper. Look at all of the Broncos there to surround him, including Talib. And inside 5 minutes to go in the half. And look at, he's just in
Yeah, doesn't it look
terrible
like
pain?
Yeah, he's got a little something going on there with more than just his hand.
The way he's walking here.
Yeah, did you see that?
Yeah. He's going to go talk to his head trainer there, Rod Martin. And Cook is going to get ready, it looks like. But they'll be playing first. For the fourth time.
Beautiful.
Wow, spiraling. Missile back to the 1. Raymond with the return. Can he turn the corner? He's out of bounds. And a flag on top of it. That was 68 yards. The punt by King.
It's true. You can outkick your coverage.
25-yard return.
Of course, Raymond, they expect him to be the top returner.
After the play, personal foul, late hit out of bounds, number 33, the kicking team. That 15-yard penalty will be administered from the dead ball spot. First down.
Penalty on
Timeout.
DeAndre Washington, so the Broncos will be set up in good field position. But the Raiders, a lot of concern. They're down, and their quarterback takes a big hit here. Back here in Denver, and they are on the sideline. The medical crew is looking at that hit on McGloin, where his head again bounced off the ground. His head off the hit by Crick. It was kind of ricocheted, looked rather violent. Going deep, Simeon, open, but a yard too far for Demaryius Thomas. Update down in San Diego. Kansas City has gone up 7 in the second quarter. And again, if the Broncos go on to win this one and Kansas City prevails at San Diego, the Chiefs would take the division and they would be the 2 seed.
A lot on the line, no question. That week off, getting one game at least at home, that's so important in the NFL. That pass play we just saw, the deep passes, the play actions, that's one thing that's been missing all year long from Denver's offense.
2nd and 10. There's Taylor. Wow. Across the middle. Jordan Taylor with a catch of 23 yards.
Well, Jordan Taylor is a good-looking wide receiver. Fits in well with this group. Boy, it's an awesome shot of Trevor Siemian just turning into the throw, using his body. The Taylor inside release, in cut. Seen him make a couple big catches these last couple weeks and has really come on late in the season to give him a third, a fourth option at wide receiver.
Set. Ball's on the ground. And it would be smothered up by the Broncos.
Could have been down, I'm not sure. Dan Williams, 90. Big defensive stopper was in there to help make that play. He's laying on 2 Broncos, he's so big.
Paradis has already come out of the pile. I thought he had the recovery at one time. There's a signal. He's going to stay here with Denver, it appears.
Well, and let's see. Oh, the ball is out now. Yep. If you can see that the Raiders recover it for sure.
Look at Paradis scrambling to get there. And then it's an arm wrestle.
It is. Paradis got his whole body on top of it.
So Denver with the recovery at the 34.
Sense of urgency. Look, this Raiders defense, they know we're missing our starting quarterback now, maybe our backup. We got to stand up and get it done.
And again, handoff for set for 1.
So a lot of pressure goes on this defense, especially their defensive coordinator. Ken Norton Jr. has got to talk to the head coach and go, how do we want to approach what we're doing from here on out?
McGloin is now warming up. We were looking again on the sideline at the replays.
That's not a good sign. Body language is just so upset with the whole situation.
We're looking for, you would suspect, possible, do we put him through some sort of concussion protocol here? But I'm not sure. There are other issues too. Hand, shoulder, he looked just to be battered here in that last series. We reached a 2-minute warning. Denver leading 10-0. Halftime report with JB, Tony, Bart, Boomer, and Coach Cower. Scores and highlights, the latest playoff scenarios coming up. Verizon halftime report. 3rd and 8. Bubble snap. Simeon. Flag down, throws it away.
Holding. Offense number 73. 10-yard penalty. 3rd down.
All right. Update time. Boomer has it in New York.
Hey, this came off of a Phillip Rivers interception by Marcus Peters, a 4-yard touchdown pass to Chakandrick West by Alex Smith. Chiefs now take the lead, guys, 17-10. Back to you in Denver.
All right, Boomer, thank you for that. And they continue to work on McGloin.
They do some of that work. Loosen a few things up that are getting tight over the lifetime here.
3rd and 18.
Big penalty took the Broncos out of field goal range.
To Booker. He's got room. Booker got an open field ahead. He's got the end zone for the 2nd time. 43 yards.
Well, this offensive line has struggled all year long, but today the run game, pass blocking. Watch the left tackle, Russell Okung. Goes upfield, comes out, gets the first block that gives Booker the chance to go, and then the block downfield. Excellent by Cody Latimer. Kind of reminds me of the screens they used to throw to Demaryius Thomas and Emmanuel Sanders. We haven't seen those Peyton Manning type throws much this year. But man, that was executed perfectly.
That came on a 3rd and 18. Remember, they did take the penalty. Had they refused the penalty, it would have been about a 51-yard field goal try. Raiders said, nope, we'll take the 10 yards, make a play. The down over. That down ends up being a touchdown.
Welcome back to Denver. It's 17-0. I just got word from the Oakland Raiders that Matt McGloin has a shoulder injury. His return is questionable, so backup Connor Cook will take over, Jim.
Yeah, he'll see his first action of the regular season.
Wow. It's, you know, at least Matt McGloin was getting backup reps all year long. Connor Cook was just running the scout team, probably got his first few reps of the whole year in practice this week. And that one hit, Matt McGloin, his right hand, his left shoulder, we thought maybe he had a concussion. That was some big hit. And another, how surprised are you? Forget that. Just how Denver's playing this game with all the news that we've heard here today.
You wouldn't know that they had nothing on the line here, the way they played. And here comes Connor Cook out to the 25-yard line. Again, active for the first time this season. He was the 100th selection overall in the draft in the spring out of Michigan State, where he was the all-time winningest quarterback in Spartan football history. Threw for the most yards, the most touchdowns ever for a Michigan State quarterback. And there have been some good ones out of that program through the years.
Oh, yeah, a lot of good ones. Kirk Cousins comes to mind right off the start. It's in the league playing well, but Connor Cook expected to go high in the draft. He went the first pick of the 4th round. In a really tough spot he's put into here. Not only his first action, but it's against a defense that can just now tee off.
And number 1 against the pass in the league. He's going to come out throwing right away. His first NFL throw is a completion to Amari Cooper. And they're going to take McGloin in early with 1:40 to go in the 2nd quarter.
Maybe they can take him in there, work on him a little bit, get him loosened up where he has a chance to come out and compete again in the 2nd half. I think my big question is the Denver Broncos going to play 2 quarterbacks today. Do you take Trevor Siemian out?
I know. The way things are going.
11 of 13, he's on fire.
2nd and 5, and that should have been caught.
Really good throw.
Clive Walford, the tight end who had a touchdown catch last week, unable to get the handle on that one. In case you're wondering, the emergency quarterback for the Raiders is Michael Crabtree. So Cook, you mentioned it, Phil, they moved up with the first pick of the 4th round. They made a trade, the Raiders did, with Cleveland. giving up pick 114. They moved up 14 spots, gave up their 4th round pick and a 5 to Cleveland to take Cook. Cook thought he was going to be taken in the 4th round by the Cowboys, who would later take a guy named Dak Prescott. Here's a 3rd and 5 screen to Washington. One man to defeat for the first down. And Corey Nelson doesn't allow him to get there. And a fast closing Von Miller helped out as well. We get a timeout, Denver. And we'll be back in 30 seconds after this Verizon playoff update. Marquette King now set to punt for the 5th time of this first half. It's another beauty. Fielded at the 4 by Raymond. And Holmes is the man on the sideline to bump him out. That was a 64-yard punt. And again, the Verizon halftime report, they got all the balloons, the streamers. I'm sure they had a big time of it last night down in Times Square for the ringing in of the new year.
Hey, these guys, we know what they got suits on and look prim and proper, but we know they're wild. They like to party, right? Looks think so.
No
JB
question.
especially.
Yeah.
But hey, little chance here. You know, the Raiders have 3 timeouts. You got Denver's offense backed up. You got to make a stand and give your offense at least a chance to go out there and maybe get a field goal opportunity. Kubiak comes out, spreads it out with 4 wides.
Simeon, draw, Booker up ahead for 4. The running backs for Denver have 137 scrimmage yards so far, and Booker has a couple of touchdowns.
And Jack Del Rio not taking the timeout. I would have gambled here, 17-0. I would gamble and say, oh, if they think they can use our timeouts and, you know, try to make a drive out of it, you'd hope to make a play. So he's elected just to go in at halftime in this situation.
2nd and 6. Denver's going to go up top. Dangerous throw. That stops the clock at 38 seconds. You brought up what will the Broncos do with Paxton Lynch in the second half. Now, they never said it was going to be necessarily just a 50-50 split here, but once one quarterback comes in, it's not like they're going to start alternating series.
Right.
When do you hand off the game to Lynch with a 17-0 lead?
It would not, in my opinion, it would not be starting the second half. I would keep rolling one more series at least with Trevor Simeon, see how the game is going. And, you know, it's a tough call for Gary Kubiak, but even though this might be his last game, you still want to win no matter what.
3rd and 6. Booker first down, and Smith tackles him out at the 28. Denver has 2 timeouts.
Bad sign by the Raiders defense. 3rd and 6. You got to be thinking run.
Timeout called here by Denver, leaving them with 1.
And just up front, the blocking. We're just seeing blocking today we have not seen from this Denver offensive line in quite a while.
Max Garcia with a big block on that one.
You know, I got lectured a little bit on Friday by Gary Kubiak because I would talk about the offensive line. He goes, no, he was not defensive, but I think he still had great faith going forward. They were going to be able to fix it up and do much better.
You know, the big thing, too, all season long, because they've been so out of sync in the first quarter, they played behind almost all year long, whereas last year they were always out in front, it seemed. In fact, all 3 playoff games last year, they scored first.
He's noted Gary Kubiak to be a fast starter as an offensive coordinator, and this team is built because around the defense, put them in position to do their job.
Smith is there to defend this pass to Booker, and then he gets a little help on the tackle by Latham.
They're doing what the Oakland offense wants to do, attack them underneath to make the linebackers and safeties cover guys, and that's tough.
10 seconds to go. One throw to try to get in the field goal range, and they went with Latimer on the deep ball over his head.
Well, he had him. You know, across you can't throw this football high enough or far enough across the field. When you throw it up the field, the margin of error is so slim. You know, it has to be a perfect throw. If you throw it across the field and where he can keep the defender at his back, much greater chance of getting there and making the catch. Easy to say, hard to do. I made that throw about 100 times myself. Made the same mistake.
3rd and 1, but just seconds to go. And now with 1 second left.
Of course, now you just kneel on the football. Pretty aggressive series, wasn't it, by Gary Kubiak?
It really was.
I'm like,
what do you got to lose?
Well, I know it's easy to say what do you got to lose, but when the contest starts, you want to win.
His message to us on Friday in our production meeting was his team had been upbeat all week, even though they had been eliminated from the postseason. He said this team wants to end this season on the uptick.
But what did he tell him?
This is the start of the 2017 season. But when he said that, we didn't know that he wasn't going to be a part of it. And the first half comes to a close. Dominating first half by Denver.
Well, what a first half for Denver on both sides of football. Got a penalty flag that came out. This could be a bad start if it's against the Raiders starting the second half.
The half is over. However, after the play, there was a personal foul, number 52 of the defense. That 15-yard penalty for unnecessary roughness will be assessed on the second half kickoff. This is the end of the first half.
Here's the frustration foul on Khalil Mack. I thought there was going to be a whole lot more than that.
Yeah, 2 flags today, boy. I just go, man, you know, that's a tough call against Khalil Mack.
Oakland deferred, so we'll be receiving the 3rd quarter kick.
Del Rio's still mad about that 15-yard penalty he got for the personal foul, pushing or touching the returner out of bounds, which was very close.
All right, Tracy, down to you.
Thanks a lot, Coach. Matt McGloin in the locker room with that shoulder injury. If he can't go, what gives you confidence that Connor Cook can run this offense?
Well, right now, I'm not confident that we're doing a whole lot right, but we'll regroup, come out in the second half and see if we can't put something together.
So what do you need to see to get this right?
Well, we've got to play defense, got to play offense, got to play special teams. I don't think any of the 3 phases played very well.
Appreciate it. Jim?
Boy, there'll be so much on the line. These next 2 quarters, again, needing the win to take the division and a first-round bye. But it's a big deficit here in Denver for the Raiders. 17-0 Broncos. Back with the Verizon Halftime Report after this message and a word from your local station. 17-0 Broncos about to kick to the Raiders to start the second half. And let's take a look at the winning play of the first half presented by H&R Block. And it's the quick hit on McGloin that just beat him up in a lot of different ways. His hand hit his helmet, the quarterback's hand. His head bounced off the ground, but he's out warming up. And he also, of course, got that left shoulder kind of crushed as he continues to try to loosen up the neck area.
He's trying to find a way to. What he's trying to do is try to find a way to throw the football if he has to change his motion where there's not pain.
And they kicked there from the 50 because of the penalty on Mack on the last play of the first half. So the touchback to the 25, and it will be Cook to start the second. Can you just imagine? You got the whole division on the line here, and you're going to start the second half with a quarterback who's dressed for the first time this year.
It's an unbelievable situation. And you just like Jack Del Rio, you got to deal with it. You got to find a way to create some offense. But, really, and I said this in the first half, your defense has got to come up big time and create pressure and create a turnover if you can. Well, let's don't take away from what Denver did in that first half. Got to be very impressed on both sides of the ball, how hard they played and how well they executed.
Here is Murray on the toss. Boy, he takes a big hit by Corey Nelson after picking up about 6. And Tracy, back to you.
Well, Jim, I had a chance to speak with Gary Kubiak coming out of the locker room. He said he loves his team's effort considering not much on the line today. I asked him about his quarterback situation. He said he really likes what Trevor Siemian has done. He would like to get Paxton Lynch in here by the end of the game, but right now he's going to go with Trevor Siemian and then try and get Lynch in a little later on. Jim?
Can't argue with that game plan. The way Siemian played in that first half, throwing for 150 yards and a touchdown. And there's a first down pickup by Washington, and he's not down yet.
This is what you need. What's the strength? One big strength of this football team of the Raiders. The offensive line has got to start dominating, and this is a good way to do it. Right up the middle, Hudson, Gabe Jackson, DeAndre Washington. We saw him last week make a lot of good runs.
He has 2 touchdowns that covered 22 yards each. This goes for 20, and it's the longest play of the game for Oakland. And the ball's right at the 50. A 99-yard performance by the rookie last week, including those 2 touchdowns. Here's Cook. Good throw, Crabtree. Flag down in the secondary. Tackled down by Talib after 13.
Illegal contact, number 25, defense. That penalty is declined. The result of the play is a first down.
I thought it was going to be the other way around, actually. Chris Harris on the outside, Michael Crabtree. Michael Crabtree runs into him. Chris Harris had great position, and Michael Crabtree extended his arms, all which are not against Chris Harris. But
goes the other way, and now the Raiders will snap it for the first time in Denver territory.
Good break for the Raiders.
Miller coming off the edge. Cook lost the football, and it's recovered by Denver. Shane Ray was the one who knocked it out of his hand.
Well, Von Miller causes it to move, and Connor Cook did not have 2 hands on the football.
Gotsis with the recovery. There's Ray, last year's first-round pick, forcing the fumble, and a rookie with the recovery. All to be decided. The AFC West champion, along with it, would go the first-round bye. Will it be Oakland facing this huge deficit right now, or Kansas City leading out there in San Diego? As Simeon just slings it, as Irvin was on him right away.
Official grounding, 85 is in the vicinity.
And they say that's not grounded because Green was close by.
Nothing's more upsetting, Jim, for a quarterback, and I saw a bunch of these last week against Kansas City, than to have to throw away screenplays. You know what I'm saying? You understand? Why? Because you figure, man, screen, I get to hit this and see what happens afterwards. But Trevor Simeon has thrown a lot of footballs away this year because the screenplays have not been there. And last week must have been at least 5 of them he just had to get rid of.
Of course, they scored on a screenplay in the second quarter.
Yeah, that one worked great. That's no doubt.
That's Forsett with a wiggle and a run out to about the 42.
Well, that screenplay you talked about and this is what separates these 2 teams so far today. 2-back offense leads to the easy touchdown. And then this, the good block by Schofield. Breaking tackles. Boy, there. Denver offensive line much more aggressive. A lot of it's happened with 2 running backs in the backfield. Thompson's done a good job. But you know, in the NFL, usually the most physical team wins, and there's no doubt Denver was the most physical in the first half.
3rd and 5. Open is Latimer. First down. Emerson and Trawick combine on the tackle, but not until Denver moves the chains again. Pick up a 14.
Well, the motion does it. They bring a guy in motion, 3-receiver bunch, and, well, Emerson just gets picked. That's what happens. He gets stuck on the outside, and man-to-man coverage against Latimer, too hard to overcome that position.
So the Broncos, who had, for the first time since 1966, gone 3 consecutive games without scoring any more than 10 points, 10 or fewer points in 3 straight games. They put up 17 already, and they're driving again. Forsett hits the deck after Justin Ellis makes contact.
You know, so much on the line here for the Oakland Raiders. They had, they've had their chances. Think about it. They gave up that long screen for the touchdown.
On 3rd and 18.
3rd and 18. There's going to be no points given up, and they give up a 3rd and 18 long screen for a touchdown. They had Amari Cooper wide open for a walk-in touchdown. Matt McGloin missed that, so when you get opportunities this league, you got to take advantage of them. Those misses, big difference in this game.
2nd and 8. Trawick blitzing. Simeon unloads it, and it is, oh, did it hit the ground? I think it hit the ground. Raymond has convinced him it's a catch at the 10. Khalif Raymond for 33 yards. It looked like it kind of came out of his hands. Look at Urban drive Simeon into the ground.
Well, look at, as you can look down the field, Raymond, and then what Simeon did an unbelievable job of was throwing it across the field. The football did come out.
Yep, no question. The official was shielded really by Raymond's body, so he couldn't see the fact that the ball had hit the ground, and that's why Denver was trying to race up there quickly to get the snap off in time, but the challenge is out.
Oakland is challenging the ruling on the field of a completed pass.
That's going to be incomplete, but that was a terrific throw by Simeon.
Yeah, Reggie Nelson helped knock it out of his hands, so it'll come back. It'll be 3rd and 8. So the teams are already back at the original line of scrimmage. Brad Allen will confirm
After
it.
reviewing the play, the ruling on the field has been changed. The airborne receiver going to the ground did not maintain possession, therefore it's an incomplete pass. It will be 3rd down and 8 from the 43-yard line. Oakland is not charged a challenge or a timeout.
Would have been Raymond's first ever NFL catch.
Good challenge by Jack Del Rio. I mean, any score that they give up is big. I mean, even field goal attempts or whatever, because Connor Cook, 3rd string quarterback, now starting for this playoff bound Oakland Raiders. You're down 17-0.
From the 43, Simeon throws it in there to Thomas, bouncing off of hits into the red zone.
Well, what really strikes me today so far overall is the pass protection Trevor Simeon's gotten. And this time he gets it, and man, he steps into it and rips it to Demaryius Thomas. It was a zone coverage. The underneath linebackers could not make a play. Gary Kubiak, I don't think he thought too long and hard about who was going to be his quarterback starting this second half when he went in at halftime.
And how about the emotion with which the Broncos have played?
It's tremendous, their emotion and their effort.
Almost looked to hurt his hand on that play as Booker brings it down to the 12, and we go back to New York for the update.
Boom, you hate to see this.
Well, guys, I just heard you guys talking about emotion and effort. Well, that's the San Diego Chargers today. With the Chiefs up 20-10, Melvin Ingram's going to tip an Alex Smith pass, and Jalil Adai is going to pick it off, and he's going to take it all the way back for the touchdown. A 90-yard interception return. Chiefs now up by 3, 20-17.
Jim Nance.
What a run back, too. And as Booker has a yard, it reminded me of the Landon Collins return for a touchdown in a giant game over against the Rams in London. Kept thinking, are they going to tackle? Is this guy actually going to go 90 yards? So that's big for the Raider faithful out there to see the Chargers now with a little life.
I think some of the Raider faithful have turned the station over and they're watching the Charger game. Saying, well, we don't have a chance here. Let's see if the other team can pull through. What a exciting events going on at the same time.
Again, if the Raiders and Chiefs both lose, the Raiders take the division and the first round bye. Here's a 3rd and 4. Simeon, and it's flag out on Emerson. Trying to defend Latimer.
Defense, number 29. A foul occurred in the end zone by rule. The ball is placed at the 1. Automatic. First down.
Look, he has his right arm on him, but that's not illegal. Well, he's holding him. Here's the ball. Yeah, he's pulling the jersey, and, you know, the rest of it was all good. I'd say no penalty, but once you pull that jersey,
that's it.
That's it.
You start tugging, the flag's coming out.
Flag's coming out.
So set up at the 1. 10 penalties, 100 yards of penalties against the Raiders. It's Jawan Thompson stuffed. 100 penalty yards against Oakland.
Wow.
That's nothing new. Somehow this Raider defense needs to try to find a way to hold them to a field goal.
Justin Ellis, good job inside. He's a run stopper. Ken Norton Jr., the defensive coordinator, likes to name his defenses after ex-fighters, or I should say, prize fighters, and he needs to call the right one here.
2nd and goal. Play action to the end zone, open. It's a touchdown. Virgil Green.
Nice play action fake. You're thinking run all the way. That's what I would do if I was on defense. So you'll see the run fake. Virgil Green goes to the back of the end zone. Nobody ever sees him or reacts to him. It's too late by the time they realize it's going to be a pass. Bruce Irvin doesn't get back there. Bates, the other linebacker, all looking for the run play, nobody for the pass. Another good drive by the Broncos.
64 yards in 10 plays. A drive that began after they forced the fumble.
It's 3 works worth of scoring here for the Broncos.
It is. Dead center, extra point by McManus. Simeon with his 2nd touchdown pass in 22 attempts. Denver best in the league in cashing in on takeaways. Now 117 points. Takeaway points as Thomas is going back to the locker room. Of course, they lost Emmanuel Sanders on the 2nd play of the game with a foot injury. Both Thomas and Sanders 1,000-yard receivers this season. And McManus again not allowing a return. Tracy?
Well, the Raiders are still listing Matt McGloin as questionable. I'm watching him right now. He's standing on the sideline, really away from Todd Downing, the quarterback's coach, and Connor Cook. He has his helmet on, but it looks as though he's here just in case of emergency. Certainly, they're not going to put Michael Crabtree out there at quarterback if they have to. So Matt McGloin on hand right now, helmet on, but it doesn't look like he's going back in the game, Jim.
Well, you have to start to wonder, too, did they have to go out and sign a quarterback this week? It's going to be, if Kansas City ends up taking this division, it's going to be playoffs are right on top of you. What a hit on Michael Rivera. And it's update time. Back to New York.
Giants D.
How about the Giants? The 130 total yards for the Redskins offense thus far today. Dominic Rodgers-Cromartie, interception of Kirk Cousins right here. Giants lead 10-0. The Giant defense reminds you of those great Phil Simms team's defenses. You know what I'm talking about, JB?
Hey, they've got 4 sacks today. Phil knows it too. Back to Jim.
Yeah, it was all about the defense is what you guys are trying to say.
I got to say something. I thought it was all about the offense. I don't remember the defense being that great. So Boomer's wrong.
Washington takes it within a yard of a first. Here's the NFC playoff picture. Boy, Atlanta impressive. Trying to lock down the 2 with a win against New Orleans.
Yeah, they're a team that nobody talks about. Atlanta Falcons 10-5. Hopefully on their way to going 11-5. And
Washington must win to get in. Cowboys had Romo out for a series today, and he was sharp. Drove him down the field, threw a touchdown. Here's a 3rd and 1. Low snap. And that allowed the Denver defense to just crush the ball carrier, Latavius Murray.
It's kind of a giveaway. I think the defense knew it was going to be a run. Of course, the situation. But when the running back switches from the right of the quarterback to the left, trying to get him in a good position to get the right run and the right blocking. And Von Miller, you haven't heard his name a lot the last few weeks, but his run defense has been outstanding.
And Jared Crick also in on that. Big smash.
Yep, good game for him today, too. I mean, listen, this defense, it's come out, what's the word for it? Really mad. I'll keep it clean, PG. Really mad because what happened last week.
That was G, that wasn't PG. Here's King. There's Raymond. Switching direction. Trotwick has him wrapped up.
Jim, also the way Oakland dominated them the first time this year when they played each other.
They really did. Pushed them around, rushed for over 200 yards. Completely different ball game here today.
The NFL on CBS is sponsored by the all-new Civic Hatchback from Honda. And by Nationwide. Nationwide is on your side.
There's that Denver defense that so far has held the Raiders under 100 yards. 96 total yards. And now the Denver offense takes over at the 16. Simeon still in at quarterback with 6 minutes to go in the third. Forsett for a 2-yard gain.
You know, let me bring this up about Trevor Simeon. I read somebody said a very disappointing year for him, and the faith that Gary Kubiak and John Elway showed in Trevor Simeon. That
called him the most disappointing player on the team this year. It was one from each team was listed.
I got to get my glasses checked because I watched just about every one of their games, and I never thought that he was the biggest problem they had on the football team. Not even close to it. Let me just finish it this way. In fact, I think he's a bright spot. I think how he played through such tough competition. We were there down in New Orleans where he just got slaughtered and hung in there and played well enough. And Gary Kubiak, and you know he was telling us the truth, said very encouraged about the future of Trevor Simeon, the experience of learning how to play his first year in the NFL. He's a rookie. That's what you got to look at him. He's a rookie quarterback. I thought he did a really good job this year.
And he told us on Friday he's going to relive all the games a couple of times over. He'll watch each tape. He's got a laundry list of things he wants to fix going into next year. And Trauwig tangled up with Hireman, and it's going to be 4th and 3. This is how you see the offseason wish list for the Broncos. Of course, got to go get a coach.
Well, yeah, that wish list I made a few days ago. But just said, what do they need? They need some big people. Two good linemen would help. I know John Elway's got better ideas than me, but they need another big guy on the defensive side to help them.
There's the punt by Dixon. Run back attempt coming. Richard. 37. They really missed Malik Jackson this year. And Vance Walker, who was IR'd with an injury in the preseason. A very ugly looking injury suffered by Zaire Anderson, a backup linebacker for the Broncos, playing special teams. And watch, he comes flying in and his neck gets compressed as he actually ran into his teammate, Quentin Gauze.
Well, the medical staff's always ready for situations like this. He has moved his arms and legs. We've seen that.
He was a undrafted college free agent out of Nebraska a year ago, and that interior linebacking group this year with Brandon Marshall really missing the last month because of a hamstring injury, and of course losing DeMarcus Ware earlier this week, put on IR. One of the great outside linebackers all time. Ware, they're speculating, may have another year of football in him.
He said he's not retiring after the surgery.
We'll be right back. They're still tending to Zaire Anderson. And strapping him onto a flat board. And all you see are concerned looks from both sidelines.
Yeah, concerned looks. And, you know, I think about his family. And, of course, anything we find out, any information, we will get it out immediately because of all of his loved ones and everybody, of course, wants to hear the good word. But we did see him move his arms and his legs. I saw him squeezing his hands.
One of those players who made it into the NFL the hard way, undrafted. And then you make a roster. You practice squad it for a year, then you make a roster. You got to prove yourself on special teams, trying to do something that stands out.
Well, he has done that. They have high hopes for him. When he has been called upon to come in and play, he's played well.
Well, this is the point in the game where you wonder how these players now mentally go back and refocus and get back to action. Here they go. Swing it over to Murray. That's Davis bumping him out. First down, Oakland. Yeah, Davis and Zaire Anderson. Danny Trevathan was one of those two I was trying to bring up that last year that
Chicago
he left, and that opened the roster spot for Zaire to make this team. Now just the second snap for the Raiders in Denver territory. Their first one was the Cook fumble the last time they had the football. Got Cooper in the backfield. He drills it in there to his tight end, Walford.
Really good throw by Connor Cook. The ball's coming out of his hand clean, and he's made a couple nice throws down the field. 88 Walford bends around the linebackers, and good timing, good anticipation by Connor Cook. You know, a lot of times when you're the backup quarterback and you get thrown into a football game, you know, you don't feel that pressure. You just, let's just go. It's not like being a starter sometimes where you build up pressure as the week goes along.
Thoughts and prayers with Zaire Anderson. Going to take him to a local hospital. Meantime, 1st and 10. Cook, bodies around him, throws it. Beautiful pass. And Cooper tried to reach out for it. Did he step out? No, they say touchdown. Amari Cooper.
Well, there's a couple things. This was a big drive, of course. Good field position. They took advantage of it. But Connor Cook stepping up in the pocket was the first thing. And the Raiders love to make little double moves. They do a lot of them during the game. And that was some job by Amari Cooper.
How about the way he finds the pylon here?
It's a touchdown. Well, did the ball cross the end zone before that foot hits the white mark? Yes,
it did. And
what a play.
Connor Cook has his first NFL touchdown pass. His first completion earlier went to Cooper, and now his first touchdown goes to Cooper. They'll go for 2 here.
Is under further review. We'll review the play.
They're going to review it anyway. As they always do, they've got to be verified.
But his movement in the pocket, stepping up, the pressure was coming. He felt it and put a nice touch on the football. Chris Harris just missed it going for the knockdown. Oh, great shot. Pylons down, left foot was still in the air.
For Cooper, it's going to be, I don't see any way they could overturn this. It's going to be his 5th touchdown of the year. Look at that effort.
Yep.
That is amazing. His 5th touchdown, and all 5 of his touchdowns have come from outside of the red zone. So scoring on all 5 occasions on big plays.
Well, it's been a while since he's had one of those breakout big games.
Yes, it has.
After reviewing the play, the ruling on the field is confirmed. Touchdown.
Second half numbers have not been what they were in the first half, but he's a Pro Bowl starter, is Cooper. And now Cook and the Raiders will try to bring it down to a 16-point margin.
Now, I'm never big on chasing points. They're going to get at least, I think, 3 more possessions in this game if their defense can do their job at all. 3:09 field goal in the 3rd quarter, so this could go either way. Jack Del Rio's looking at it like he wants to get it back with 3 touchdowns, 3 2-point conversions.
They've converted their last 5 2-point conversions. They're 5 of 6 on the season. Take the handoff. Cook pointing, throwing, it's tipped away by Simmons.
Well, he went with the pass. It's run by a lot of teams in this league. Fake the sweep one way. Watch the receiver come back. That's Seth Roberts coming underneath. He was covered. Connor Cook tried to wave. Back in the end zone, trying to get Amari Cooper to go back the other way.
Well, for the first time, there's something for the Raiders to feel good about. That's the first time they've scored, by the way, since Derek Carr was injured.
Wow.
Last week. They had given up, the team had been outscored 35-0 before that little touchdown drive, and you see some real positives here with Connor Cook.
A lot of good stuff. Look, what it does first, it kind of gets the rhythm of the game changed for the Oakland Raiders, gives the offense some hope, gives them some enthusiasm, and what else? The defense goes, hey, now if we can go out there and do our job, we can find a way to get back in this game.
Jack Del Rio, formerly the defensive coordinator here with the Broncos. He even served as an interim head coach back in 2013 for a 4-week span when John Fox was under the weather with heart ailment. Raymond is brought down by Taiwan Jones.
Well, let's look at some next-gen stats. How about the run game? When you talk about Denver, 100 yards inside the tackles, and that's Matt Paradis. Good block. Look at that running lane. How well they've done outside the tackles. Not as good because why? Denver is a fast defense. I mean, Oakland, the corners, I should say, are fast. Khalil Mack, Bruce Irvin, hard to get outside. You got to take advantage of go inside.
So well above their season average on the ground. At 123 already. Look at Simeon loading it up. Looking long for Latimer, and he's intercepted. And the defense comes up with a play. Trawick with the pick.
Touchdown, special teams. Now the defense comes through, and that football slipped out of Trevor Simeon's hands. They just, as soon as it took off, I could see that it slipped a little, had a little wobble to it, and they were going for the score to win the game.
This kid, Trawick, too, has made some plays. He came in because Keith McGill was ineffective, had been really run over on a couple of tackle attempts. McGill had come in for Nate Allen, who was starting because Carl Joseph is inactive. So basically, you've gone to their fourth player at safety, and Trawick has an interception.
Well, let's see what happens when he throws it. To me, it looked like it slipped out a little, and it did. The trajectory much higher, no force on it.
Trawick, a fourth-year player out of Troy. That's his first NFL interception. And the Raiders go shotgun here, getting the ball back quickly after their touchdown. That pass is one he'd like to have back, just his second incompletion in 9 attempts. Tonight on CBS, when someone is kidnapped, this is the team that brings them back alive. Catch the series premiere of the new thriller Ransom. Tonight after 60 minutes, only CBS.
Can Oakland's offense now take advantage of the situation?
Washington, the running back. They give it to him. And that's Shaq Barrett riding him down after a gain of a couple.
A good recovery. Von Miller, Shaq Barrett, these outside guys. Even DeMarcus Ware, when he was healthy playing, all we think about all their pass rushers. And if you watch them enough, you realize how outstanding they are against the run, especially Von Miller.
Third and 8. Can the Raiders keep the momentum going? Pass incomplete. Had to unload it. The blitz was on. Tried to find Cooper.
Yep, that's what it was. The blitz. It's going to come from this side. And Connor Cook never sees it until the last second he feels it. It's Parks and has to get rid of it before he's ready. And Good timing of the blitz. Good time to call it. Caught the young quarterback by surprise.
Fourth and 8. Would you try anything tricky here? Nope. Direct snap back. King bounces into the end zone. Just a net of 32. Only time he's been off the mark today.
Oh man, that was a really terrific fake by Raymond. You got to look up in the air if you're on the punting team and try to find that football.
Well, look at Kansas City now. After giving up the pick 6, they come back with 2 touchdowns to lead at 34-17. And is tracking at the moment to a Chiefs division title. This was not over yet. 1:50 to go in the third. The final regular season game 256, will be on NBC. Green Bay and Detroit with a lot on the line there too. That one in fact for the NFC North division title.
Well, Denver's defense, which it's done many times over the last few years, put in a tough spot and they come through.
Set. Irvin. I guess he let go early enough and there's no flag. He pushes him out of bounds and a loss of 4. Bruce Irvin, we met with him last week, Phil.
Yep.
This is a player that was part of a hugely successful defense at Seattle, came here as a free agent. He's told us he wanted to go to a team that needed me as much as I needed them.
That's right. Ken Norton Jr. knew him from Seattle. And Bruce Irvin also said, I want to rush the quarterback. Doesn't mean he has to do it every single play, but he comes, you get him to go there. Now with the Raiders, and you got Khalil Mack on the other side, that's a lot to deal with.
3rd and 13. Over to Thomas. Trying to slip out of a tackle. Carey holds on to the ankle and will force Denver to punt. And they don't have to run the punt play until the 4th quarter if they elect, which they'd be wise to do. Again, Gary Kubiak down to his last quarter as the coach of the Broncos has been widely reported and confirmed by a number of people. He will resign after the game as the head coach here in Denver. His Broncos lead it 24-6 after 3. And you're watching the NFL on CBS. Happy New Year. We start the 4th, a punt coming by the Broncos, 18 in front of Oakland, while Kansas City is 17 ahead of San Diego. And again, if things continue down that path, it'll be a Chiefs division crown and a 2 seed. Richard with the fair catch at 37. And with an update, Tracy.
Jim, it certainly was a scary injury to linebacker Zaire Anderson as we saw him taken directly to the hospital. Well, Denver officials have received word that it is a neck injury, but the good news is he has movement in both his hands and his feet, Jim.
That is good news. Thank you, Tracy. Back to Kubiak. This is one of the real good guys in the league. I mean, so respected, such an honest guy.
Yep, very honest when he talks to us.
There was one former player I saw this morning said, you'll never find a player in the league who ever played for Gary Kubiak. He said he ever played for a better person as a coach. Oh, the ball's on the ground. And the Broncos have the recovery. They tried the trick play with Johnny Holton.
Well, Von Miller, he's seen it all, does it all. He stays upfield, doesn't go chasing the fake to the right, and then knocks the football out. Boy, what a job by Von Miller. I don't know if he's going to be the defensive player of the year. He might not, but if he's not, he'll be second.
He'll be second to the guy on the other sideline.
The guy on the other side has had a tremendous year, Khalil Mack, but boy, we've said it a few times today. You just can't overstate how good he is versus the run, besides just rushing the passer.
It was Corey Nelson who had the recovery. And now from the 38. We're set. And there's Mack. And there's JB and Boomer in New York with the update.
Washington fighting for a postseason berth.
That's right, JB. If they win, they get in. 6th seed in the NFC, barring a tie between Detroit and Green Bay tonight. They follow up their field goal with the touchdown pass to Jordan Reed. They've tied it up. A little more than 7 minutes to go in the game. Score tied 10-10.
Back to Jim Nantz.
Yeah, if Washington loses, both Detroit and Green Bay are in. They'll just play for the division title. Here's a 2nd and 13. He's hit when he threw it.
Well, who do you think
Mack.
did? Yeah, Khalil.
Mack again.
Let me just see. We'll just put it on tape. Khalil Mack, Von Miller, and just push the button, because here they go again. And that was tremendous. Just watch the quick move. Boy, off the snap of the football, beats Stevenson outside. And the thing about Khalil Mack, you're worried about getting run over. And then when he turns the speed on, you have no chance.
Look at Riley.
Oh.
Trying to.
Raiders have had some chances.
Yep.
I mean, they ran that reverse, trying to catch Denver off guard to get back in this game, and Denver was ready for it.
3rd and 13. Taylor. Stopped 2 yards shy of the first. It would be a 48-yard field goal. Yes, McManus coming out.
You know, a lot of disappointing things. We'll see how the game goes. I'm not saying it's over. It's not. But, you know, probably the most disappointing thing is Denver's offense has struggled for so long, and the Raiders' defense, which is not great, not saying they are, but they didn't come out and play with that sense of urgency early in the game to get their football team in a good frame of mind and get them off to a good start.
McManus, 48 yards. And no good. It's only the 2nd fourth quarter field goal he's missed in his career. Oakland takes over at the 38. Del Rio's USC Trojans will be in the Rose Bowl tomorrow. And he was the MVP, co-MVP of the Rose Bowl back in 1985 when USC beat Ohio State.
That was pretty cool to learn that story last night. I didn't know that.
That's Murray. Stepping up for about 4. Quarterback injuries for the Raiders. Well, the big one. The broken bone, broken fibula. He knew it right away. He was wearing a mic during that game. I don't know if you've seen it, but it's pretty amazing to hear that whole sequence and how Carr handled it. Such poise. And McGloin then today. Now bringing Connor Cook into action, who had not seen any action all regular season, had not even been active for a game until today. It's about to be his 11th attempt. It's over to Cooper. And look at Miller.
Well, Denver's defense has played like it rested all week, which they did, and they rewarded their coach for treating them so nice and taking it easy on them, which they really probably didn't have much choice, but they have played spirited, hard, and fast. And Von Miller's been outstanding once again.
3rd and 4. 12 minutes to go.
Look at this defense. Everybody standing up.
Down, trying to go to Walford, and that's Willie Parks. Will Parks, the rookie from Arizona.
Yeah, this is not Travis Kelce this week, not to take anything away from Walford, but last week he was trying to cover Travis Kelce in some of these situations. That's tough. He's a good matchup against Walford and was all over the pass that time. A lot of young talent. You know, you look at this Denver team, they're not old, so this is not like the end of a run because they're not going to the playoffs this year.
Punt number 8 for King.
King wants to play here every game.
And he'd like to have done something more with it than that. Just a net of 36, and he knows it. Wasn't anything like this last night, this quiet on 16th Street in this magnificent city of Denver.
Were you out there in the middle of it?
Yes, a big fireworks display last night. Well, the folks out there, families. And here's the handoff. There's Booker.
Well, Denver's trying to find a way to end this game. In other words, they just want 1 or 2 first downs where the clock keeps moving, and that will just almost take the Raiders' chances completely out.
Did you think we'd see Paxton Lynch on this series?
I thought we would. I really did. I saw him put his helmet on and warm up a little, but hey, the competitor comes out, Jimmy, and
that's it. That's right,
baby.
You're Coach Kubiak. You're saying, you know what? I wanted to do it, but you know what? I'd rather win and go 9-7.
Hey, Paxton Lynch doesn't get in, it's not going to hurt his career at all.
And as Booker thrown down, it looked like maybe a face mask. They may pick up this flag. They're tackled by the shoulder. Did they get the hand in the face mask?
Yeah, it looked like he got, they're going to call it a horse collar, maybe?
Personal foul, unnecessary roughness, number 51, defense, 15-yard penalty, automatic, first down.
So Irvin flagged for that.
Hard to see what he grabs.
Del Rio's wanted an explanation. What did he do?
He's talking about the tackle box. It is a horse collar. That is, but he says it's inside the tackle box where there's no horse collar now. That against the quarterback, there's no penalty.
First down then, 40. Booker. Reggie Nelson came up, tried to make tackle at the line, but he's able to scoot ahead for 4. Tonight, a 60 minutes investigation. They are beautiful islands where you can vacation or buy a passport. That's right. Passports and citizenship for sale tonight. Only CBS. The Chargers have kicked the field goal with 10 minutes to go. And now down 14. Tossed down by Malcolm Smith. Broncos trying to spoil all the plans that the Raiders have. It looks like you spoiled somebody's plans too, all the way back in the 6th grade for this guy.
Wait.
Yeah, when you
ruined my 6th grade Super Bowl. Oh, Jesus.
When you were the MVP of Super Bowl 21 against Denver.
Oh, that sign came up. I said, oh, who knows what that's going to say. You know, Denver's had enough success. They can't win them all.
3rd down, and Forsett stopped a yard short.
But I would like to shake his hand. If anybody tells him or calls him real quick, tell him to meet me outside the stadium as we're leaving tonight.
I don't think he's gotten over it yet. I mean, back in the 6th grade, now you're... You must have spent New Year's Eve working on a sign, then you bring it to a stadium. It's time to move on.
Oh, that's great.
Moving inside 9 minutes.
Let's see, Denver, how many times have he been to the Super Bowl since that one? Twice with Peyton. A couple other times John Elway as he won. And lost one after that too.
Flag at the line. Backward bounce at the 10. Touched at the 15.
In fact, they've been back 6 times since that Super Bowl. Am I right?
Then
6.
Well, Shanahan had all those visits, and
Dan Reeves, they lost the first one to us.
and Elway won the last 2 times he went to the big game.
Peyton won twice. Yeah.
It was illegal motion by the kicking team. That 5-yard penalty will be assessed from the dead ball spot. It'll be first down, Oakland. Timeout.
See if Cook can put anything together here with 8.5 remaining. Headlines today: the Patriots locked up the #1 seed, winning down in Miami. Edelman had another big game. Just when the Dolphins got close, he scored on a long one. Romo comes in, 1 drive, 1 touchdown. Beautiful strike there to Terrence Williams. And the Texans fell to the Titans, and Tom Savage was injured in that game through the concussion protocol. And it's right now at the moment shaping up that Oakland would be at Houston in the wild card round next weekend, and possibly the flag is out. Again, I'm just going to speculate on this, but I would think that has a very good possibility, if that is the case, of being a Saturday game.
Full start. Offense, number 71. 5-yard penalty. First down.
Which would mean the Raiders, they get back late tonight and they have to travel. It's a short week for them. They got all these issues and trying to figure out what to do with the quarterback position. Again, Kansas City will take the division if it goes ahead and closes out. San Diego up 14, and the Raiders fall in this one. Here's the NFC playoff picture. Giants-Washington game coming down to the wire. First and 15. Got it away in time. Olawale has it. He's out to the 25. It is time for yet another update. They're doing a great job in the studio. Take it away, fellas.
Washington trying to get into that postseason picture, Jim.
Jim, you were just talking about it. Here comes Robbie Gould. They're going to answer the Washington Redskin touchdown with a field goal, 40 yards. Giants take the lead 13-10. Redskin ball inside of 2 minutes, actually at the 2-minute warning right now in Washington.
Back to Jim Nance.
Playing for their playoff lives, the Redskins. And there's Cook with the throw, the Crabtree.
Beautiful throw. Von Miller is just running around Donald Penn. So Connor Cook, catch it, see it, and let it go. Nice little jump cut by Michael Crabtree to the outside. Here comes Von Miller. He was coming free, but Raiders do these jump cuts where they kind of like they got a basketball in their hand. They wiggle and make these cuts, and haven't seen many of them today. See a lot of teams around the league copying what they do, though.
Crabtree shaken up, injured an ankle last week. There's Roberts. He takes the defender with him, and that's Kyle Pecco, who was tangled up with him. Gain of 9.
Brought up to play in this game. They wanted to see him play, and Connor Cook, 10 of 14 now for 116 yards. It's pretty impressive what he's doing out here today.
Looks like Barrett may have jumped for the Broncos. And it's going to go against Denver here. We got Donald Penn, I think. Yep, Donald Penn is down. The Pro Bowl left tackle holding on to that left knee.
Offside, number 48 defense, unimpeded to the quarterback. That 5-yard penalty will result in a first down.
I mean, Donald Penn, last time these two teams played, he was truly borderline great how he played against this Denver defense. So
he gets hurt on a dead play.
It's a big miss.
Donald Penn was able to walk to the sideline, but Watson moves to left tackle and Vidal Alexander to right tackle.
Well, it's a deep offensive line, so that's the one good thing. When they get somebody injured, they have somebody to step in.
Cook connects. Crabtree to the 36.
Michael Crabtree, pretty slick once he gets that football in his hands.
You can tell he's not 100% either.
Well, we were worried about him. Would he be ready for this game? We had him last week, and late in the game, he hurt his ankle.
That catch, by the way, gave him a 1,000-yard season. He needed 44. When the game, he got 47. He got picked instead. Rivera was open. Simmons with the theft. Look at Simmons go down the sideline.
Well, Simmons has got speed. Young safety, rookie. Playing a lot, but this football, he's got it. Here's Rivera going to go down the middle of the field. Looks like it's going to be a big play. Little shake. They love that little out and up move, and it got away from Connor Cook just a little. That's all it takes in the NFL. Miss it by a little, there's always somebody there. You know, you're in college, you throw it through an open door. When you're in the NFL, you got to throw it through the keyhole. It's
well said.
A big difference.
Simmons with an interception for the second straight week. And a 45-yard return. And the Broncos. With Simeon giving it to Forsett. And that's Mack twisting down the ball carrier. We got another update on the Giants Redskins. What is it, fellas?
I know Boomer and Phil could dissect this one.
Well, Redskins playoff hopes are dimming here, Jim, as an interception here by Kirk Cousins to Dominic Rodgers-Cromartie. That's his second interception of the day. The Redskins lose. That means both Green Bay and Detroit will be in the playoffs. However, we will not know the seeding because Seattle and San Francisco are very close right now. Seattle leading 25-23 in the fourth quarter.
Jim Nance.
Now, what a disappointing way to close the year. Going against a Giants team that didn't have anything to play for. It was playing against a team that had everything riding on it, and the Giants locked in at the 5 position.
Well, you know what happens in situations like that? You know, when it's your defense, the Giants defense so strong, defenses don't go out and don't try. They go. I mean, they go for it. So the Giants didn't rest their key players, which I think was the right thing to do. And their defense, once again, another good solid outing because that Washington Redskins offense, they can score and score fast.
3rd and 6.
Offsides.
Booker. And brought down after 1, maybe 2. Far sideline, the marker is down. Looked like Perry Riley got hurt on that play for the Raiders.
Oh, hopefully not.
Offside. Defense number 51. 5-yard penalty. Remains 3rd down.
3rd and 1 coming up.
I mean, you say hopefully not just because they're losing key players and you know they're most likely going to have to play.
54 coming across. And he just took a shot to that right knee area, but he's still out there. 3rd and 1.
A good pickup, free agent, middle of the season.
Booker be backed up here a couple. Reggie Nelson, Mack, Autry, all there. And the Broncos are going to punt.
Yeah, that's the right play. Kicking a field goal here would make no sense. You're up 3 scores.
Oh, they fake it instead. Thompson stopped short.
Yeah, looks like he's going to be short.
Gary Kubiak with one last little game of deception move before it's all done.
Oh.
Joe DeCamillis.
Yeah, the special teams coordinator.
And a flag came down after the change of possession. Joe D right there, who filled in for Gary in the Thursday night game down at San Diego this year when Kubiak had to get rest after a complex migraine issue that sent him to the hospital after the Atlanta game.
You know, when you see fakes like that, it always can be called off by the guy who ran the football. So you get the look you want, and if you don't get the look you want, you make the change and you punt it.
They're chanting Gary here.
Oh, that's cool.
Flag is still on the ground back at the 26.
Well, let's just watch it, see if we can tell. I don't know. I wouldn't see. Formation doesn't look. The Raiders were ready. Had a lot of people, of course, stacked in there.
There is no foul for 12 players on the field. We were short of the line to gain. Therefore, will be first down for Oakland.
Now, explain that one to me. There's no penalty for 12 players on the field.
Well, I guess they threw the flag thinking there was 12 defenders out there on the field, but there wasn't.
Okay.
Well, he's going to put that play sheet up.
Yeah.
Smile on his face. Just Joe DeCamillis, the special teams coach. I think Gary, really, too, the reason they did it, they wanted to end the game. Let's get this thing over with.
I think the right wording might have been there were not 12 players on the field.
Yeah,
there were 11. Because there is a foul for 12 men on the field.
Right.
Washington, stiff arm.
What did he say?
There is no foul for 12 men on the field.
Okay. There you go.
By the way, Lance Barrow, Mike Arnold, our incredible production and technical team here on hand. What a season it's been. We're heading on to the playoffs. And how about this guy right here? Our timeout coordinator, James Jimmy Hatter.
Oh,
game number 500.
Wow, 500 games. How did he survive without getting fired?
Hey, he's halfway to 1,000 the way he's going to make it.
Great man, does a lot of things for the whole crew, and Jimmy, we appreciate what you do.
We love him. There's Cook, watch out. Talib, did he scoop it up or did it hit the ground?
It
incomplete, they say incomplete. Parks tipped it.
Ruling on the field is an incomplete pass.
I think Talib is going to intercept the ball if it wasn't tipped. He was going to go underneath the receiver. Yeah, the football hit the ground. But look where his position was. Aqib Talib and where the receiver. When you run inside routes against number 21, I'm telling you, he can read the quarterback and undercut you in a second.
2nd and 10. There's Rivera.
What did Aqib Talib tell us getting ready for the Super Bowl last year? Cam Newton, I said they throw those out cuts, they do this. He goes, yeah, I know. I'll give him a couple. But sooner or later, I'm going to get one. And when I get one, yeah, I'm gone. And he's a great reader of the quarterback, studies the game.
I'm just wondering if he's going to be offering the chance to repair that jewelry for Crabtree after the game. That pass in the direction of Holmes, incomplete. And the Giants in the hopes of the Redskins. The Redskins are out of the playoffs.
Well,
NFC playoff picture looks like this at the moment. That takes a lot of pressure off the Packers and Lions because instead of like win and you're in and lose and you're out, they're both going to be in. They'll play for the division title. Ball's out of the hands of Cook and recovered by Watson. Dakota Watson, meanwhile, for the Broncos, was the one who knocked it out.
Yeah, they're excited about him too. They got a lot of guys that can rush the pass what they want to see. At number 57, Dakota Watson, we were at practice. I go, who is that? Well, they didn't have their jerseys on.
Well, we've barely seen him in game action this year.
Well, you know why? He's got all these guys called Von Miller, DeMarcus Ware, Shaq Barrett, Shane Ray. They're all in front of him. Hard to get repetitions.
Now there's another key player, Osemele, on the table on the Raiders sideline. He has been banged up here late in the season. They go. Penn go out. Osemele getting treatment. Forsett for a loss of a couple. Here's the lineup tonight on CBS. It all begins with 60 Minutes. And and an investigation on where passports and citizenship are for sale, followed by the series premiere of Ransom, new episode of Pure Genius, and NCIS Los Angeles tonight on America's #1 network.
A lot of work for the Raiders to do right here in the next couple days. You go from the 2 seed, hoping you could find a way to win and be the 1 seed, now to...
Yeah, just think about this day as Forsett breaks a tackle, picks up a nice gain there. It could have been the 1 seed if Miami for the 4th year in a row beat New England in Miami, but that didn't happen. And then, of course, they're playing for the 2 seed. That doesn't appear to be happening either. And we've reached the 2-minute warning. As it stands at the moment, Kansas City 10 up with 2 minutes to go. Kansas City on its way to sweeping the division. They win the head-to-head tiebreaker with the Raiders at 12-4. It finishes that way because they beat the Raiders on both occasions.
Well, the big question will be Matt McGloin. Will he be ready for next week's playoff game?
Got another give to Forsett, and I was making this point a little earlier, and you never know, but my guess would be, do you agree with this, that Houston and Oakland would be a Saturday game, and the Pittsburgh-Miami game, which is a definite, would be perhaps a Sunday 1 o'clock game. But that, for the Raiders' purposes, short week. Again, you could have been a 1, you could have been a 2, now you're going to be a 5, you're going to be on the road, and you're going to be a short week situation with a quarterback issue.
It might... You see the Kansas City scoreboard on the bottom of the screen, so that thing is not over yet. But it's the quarterback situation. You know, we don't know Derek Carr. Will Matt McGloin be ready? But emotionally, Jim, that's just the difference. And, you know, that's what they have to get over. And they have to sit there and you got to look at the positives. Hey, we turned this thing around. The Raiders were back in the playoffs. And they, of course, have to be upset with almost every phase of their football team here today.
The Raiders and Houston played already this season. You saw Mark Davis in Mexico City on a Monday night game, which Oakland won. And the Raiders are going to end up tied for the 2nd best record in the AFC with Kansas City. But again, Kansas City has the sweep. But you're tied for the 2nd best record, and you're going to be a 5 seed.
You know, that game down there you talk about, Oakland and Houston, that was a good game.
It was a good game.
Well played. Houston gave up a couple plays. I don't think they'll give up this time. They were some short throws that went for big runs.
Yeah, the big winner was the pass to Olawale to win it in the 4th quarter.
Yeah, clever play.
And the Raiders came back from 7 down in the 4th. 4th and inches. Forsett's got the first.
Well, what a nice tribute this Denver Broncos team really gave to Gary Kubiak today.
No question.
I mean, this is really special to do this for your coach and to show this effort, play with such emotion. I think when you look at Gary Kubiak, meticulous in his preparation, he was that way as a quarterback. And, you know, Jim, we talked about it a little earlier. He's just one of those guys where he just can't ever turn it off in his mind. And that's tiring and tough.
Again, all the expectations are, everyone we have spoken to on the inside has confirmed that he will resign after this game and may hold off till Monday to announce it. And he came back to the team that he played for. 60 Minutes is coming up next. And he led them to the Super Bowl title just past February. He's going to be this could be the fastest a coach won a Super Bowl and then stepped aside since Bill Cowher.
All right, take care.
And if it's all true, which, again, every indication says it's such,
right,
we wish Gary Kubiak the very best. One of the finest guys you could ever meet. Patrick Smythe has been his communications director and big part of things here for years. Knows that the questions are about to come as he heads inside. A day that no one saw it, you know, most of us.
No, didn't
wake
see
up
it.
to the news.
We were there Friday, and the vibe was great on Friday, and it just, like I said one more time, the players, what a tribute to Gary Kubiak the way they played today.
For Phil and Tracy, Jim Nance saying so long from Denver. We'll send it back to JB in New York, and Happy New Year, everybody.